Hello, hello, people. Going over some stuff here. Mm. Ah, shoot, I lost it. Bear with me. I have just found I think it was under this. Yes, here it is. Here it is. Here it is in black and white. Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, approved the largest mass execution in U.S. history, but not against Confederates, meaning the South, meaning the people down there where they used to use black people as slaves. And Abraham Lincoln, of course, everybody knows he had freed the slaves. And what gets me, though, is that once again, here we are at a story right here that labelizes the Indians as the bad guys. Now, even George Washington ordered the Sioux tribes from Corning, New York to get out. Painted Posted, it's called. And here are two presidents that are well known for being, Abraham Lincoln being one of the greatest presidents, one of, which after this story, maybe you'll think twice. Because due to the Civil War and the funds and having to deal with the Confederate Army still, as it says here in black and white, even though some scholars believe Lincoln was one of the best presidents, many people don't realize man approved the largest execution history, and the action wasn't taken against Confederate troops who rebelled against their country. Instead, it was declared towards 38 members of the Santee Sioux tribe in 1800s. No, and it goes on to say in the 1800s, official government policy pushed Native Americans off their lands. The Trail of Tears, for example, destroyed thousands of native lives because white settlers demanded their land. The Santee people, also known as the Dakota Sioux, lived in the area that became Minnesota and faced a similar situation after 1837 treaty. They were forced into a reservation and promised an annually payment from the U.S. government. Just like that other story I covered of the two army people that didn't want to, shoot up the, of course it didn't come into my mind, but I have it up and it's another massacre. And the two soldiers that did not want to fire on the Indians due to their peaceful, kind, ways, and they were literally murdered later on because they turned against their own army. And this is the thing. This is why the Indians had did what they done. Because, right, they continued to be forced to give their land. They were continued to be forced to speak their English tongue. They were continued to be forced to, become praying Indians, leave their culture. If not, damn you to hell, you must die. And, I've said this before, I probably covered this before, but I did not cover it with the words in front of me. So, this being said, and someone had commented, just because the fact that a band of Indian teenagers, as we will call them, dared each other to go steal eggs from a white man. All right, stealing back then was very, very bad. If you would get caught stealing back in the day, being an Indian, you most likely would be shot or hung, brought to trial, give the cruelest, deepest punishment. But in the times when the government back then is promising this tribe money, just like they promised the other Indian tribes that went to the brook and they were ambushed and murdered, and they wanted to keep the peace, mind you. You know, you can not only sit here and say, oh, geez, they were savages. You can say all you want. Indians were not savages. Indians were just trying to live their lives and be left alone and go back to the way they knew and how it once was. But when you got people like this coming in here, forcing them out of their lands and forcing them to, you know, be what they're not supposed to be, because you have your culture, I have mine. It shouldn't be that way. Oh, today we are united as one, so they claim, so they say. You know, allow your illegal immigrants to come here, allow your refugees to come here, because this is a free country. This country helps. Well, guess what? Back in the day, it was not like that. Yes, Abraham Lincoln did one great thing that I can see, was free the slaves, is right. But what he did not do was give the Indians the rights to be who they were to be. And then it goes on, they didn't give them the annual payment. They started starving to death. To me, it don't say it. But obviously they weren't even allowed to go catch their own game. They must have had to pay for it or get permission to go, you know, kill wild animals for clothing, kill wild animals to eat. Obviously, and this is what it says here, but when Congress strapped with the Civil War debts. So 1776 marks the date of the start of the Civil War. And we are now in 1837. Talk about being in debt for a long goddamn time. And we're still being in debt till this day. And everybody cries, the government's in debt, the government, blah, 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 blah. And guess what? If the government's in debt, so why are we still funding free money to people who are not legal immigrants? Oh, man. As my kid would tell me every day of my life, roasted as he's trying to bust my balls. Yeah, that's right. If we're so far into debt, how can we give drug dealers, not drug dealers, but drug users, free drugs and a place to shoot up? Free this, free that. Yeah. You know, in my case, where I can't even work no more because of my goddamn stupidity, my record. And it's sad to say, and I just don't like being in the predicament I'm in now. That's why I'm trying to make damn videos to get myself out of what I'm in. I mean, I'm trying to do the best I can, but when you got companies like YouTube cutting people off, of trying to make a little bit, you know, the educational wise point of view of kids losing their educations because free money is granted to friggin' illegal immigrants, and some that kill, some that come here to do mass bombings, some that the friggin' just, you know, can start their lives, start their business. I want to start a business too, right here, YouTube. Did you see the government funding me? And I did call the government's office in Massachusetts and asked about that. I guess I got to go to my higher power. And I will be writing a letter to Mr. Donald Trump, too. Pretty soon, someday. And I'm going to be asking that man, hey, how about some funds this way? Since everything else is handed out, I'm trying to create something here to bring back the past, to make people not forget how bad it was back then at that, if you want to say so, of today. And this is just sick. This is just sick. In debt with the Civil War that happened probably friggin' 30, 40, 50 years ago, from 1837 to 1776, whatever the case may be. How can you be in debt but still fund the damn army to kill off Indians that are innocent and just trying to get a little food from themselves? All right, they did a dare, so what? When you're hungry and you're starting to lose your potassium, you're starting to lose your mind. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. You want to know why Indians did harsh, cruel things? Maybe because of the simple fact, maybe they were starting to get very hungry. And when you don't, oh, what does Snickers say? Snickers candy bar. Have a Snickers. You ain't yourself without food in your stomach. How about putting that out there for a little, oh, think about it. So what do you think? They weren't even getting food back then, let alone getting them a Snicker bar. You're not being yourself today as I'm standing here as Elton John playing my song, and then he's back to the basketball player, whatever it was they were showing. How do you think they felt back in the day when they were getting their food limitedly taken away? You're allowed to have this and you're not allowed to have that. You're not allowed to hunt no more. You need a goddamn license, so you need to pay tax, money, greed. Think about it. And it goes on, of course, to say decided the final number. So 303 Indians that year lost their lives. But yet, ever since the King Philip War, the mighty great chief Metacom, slavery has not just been for blacks, it's been for Indians too, because his wife and his son were sent off overseas, mind you, to slavery. Deer Island, Massachusetts, is a huge docking for ships, Indian slavery. So why were the blacks getting freed and not the Indians? It's beyond me. I'm not racist. I will never be racist. I don't want to be racist. I got all kinds of multiple cultured friends, and that's that. And for this to come up, to see this once again, it enrages me. It pisses me off, and knowing that I could have the most Indian blood in me, and I always had an infatuation, whether or not I know, of Indians since I was a small young child. Hell, I grew up in a town of Ayer, Massachusetts that was once the Nipmucks and once traveled through by King Philip himself. And I lived right by a pond that King Philip on the railroad tracks behind me traveled by my house through the King Philip War also. Honored to have been part of that home. And this is why ever since I started and not knowing in 2015 that I was on the 500th anniversary of the King Philip War, that I would continue my battle of giving the proper and the regional, layout of the land to the people of what really Indians are and who they are. Until this day, they still get disrespected in some sort of ways. It needs to stop. You want to talk about, refugees, illegal immigrants, all coming here, be kind to them. How about the people who were here before white man and other, overseas cultures? This was their home. This was their land. This is where they were born, raised, grew up, and started the whole shebang. If it wasn't, and I'll keep saying it over and over again, for Indians teaching the white man that came here the ways of life in the harsh, cruel winters, there would have never been any kind of white man living here, period. But anyways, as it goes on, August 17th, 1862, they stole farmers' eggs. They were struggling with starvation, and then they went on to be a battle, and it little came out to more than just, you stole 3 eggs, you pay me, or, stop doing that. No, let's just go into a full, massive, bloody war. Then let's have our president kill 300 Indians just because of this war that was created by the white man for keeping back the money and the food from the Indians to make them not think right and get their proper eatings in their mind. So, declare it, believing more violence. They go on. Minnesota was launched. What did they want to put out there? Native American mainland lands. They lost everything from the Mississippi. There's something I wanted to read in here leading up to violence. The local trader, Andrew Myrick, dismissed the crisis, saying, this, if they are hungry, let them eat grass. So, literally ban them from hunting their food and promise them money, but yet, because you're in debt from the Civil War, we can't fund you money, just sit over there and still keep starving to death. And if they're hungry, go out in the pasture there with the animals and eat the grass. Now, how about, this is getting sickening by this point. And instead of them Confederates that are still down south murdering the black nation community, hanging them, recruiting and building the empire of the KKK, which I'm not going to even say the full name of that organization of pieces of shit. But let's just go after the Indians, because we can't beat the Confederates right now with their huge army and their friggin'. No, let's just go down here and kill these guys because we're pissed off and we're fucking up with them, and just take it all out on them. Don't take them 300 Indians and use them against the Confederates. But then again, by this point, I can't even say that, because the Indians didn't even want nothing to do with war no more. They wanted to be done with it, because they were getting sick of being promised. And this is my thoughts, my theories, not in the books of history. I think the Indians got told so many times that they were going to get their land back, that they were going to get money, that they're right, and they were going to get all this stuff, and they're going to be treated equal, and were lied to over and over again. They stopped after the French War, filling in and losing their lives to all this nonsense, money, greed, and stupidity. So it led to this. Good job, Abraham Lincoln. Good job, George Washington, and any other president. There is someone else that someone mentioned in the comment that happened with a brutal beating or whatever it was. I didn't get to read it yet, but there was someone else to get named off. My man James Raincourt, which he is a pure, not pure, but he is got much Indian in his blood, pretty much as I do. And he gave me some names, but I have to put it in the description. But there's been so much stuff going on these days. It's just in history, and even today, don't you think it's about now time being getting sickening? So, that being said, we still allow illegal immigrants to come here, and I'm talking about the bad ones that kill, blow us up. We still let refugees come in here, get free money, but our veterans of the military get shit. Our Indians still get harassed about what they want to do and put back together their lives. Just for what? Think about it. You sit there and you think about it. What is really going on these days, and what really needs to stop in my eyes is this fucking nonsense. Till that next video, be safe, take care. And the next time you think of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, I hope you think of this story. I hope you embed this in your mind and think twice before you start ramping and raging about someone complaining about refugees and illegal immigrants that are coming here, killing our people, taking our jobs, and doing the wrong thing over here, not the right, not doing it legally, but doing it illegally and stealing from us and taking from us, just like the Indians did back in the day, because they were looking to get back their lives. These people are looking to start a life, and they get it handed to them more than the original people here, and even our military that fight for our country and our freedom, for them illegal immigrants and all these people that come over here and kill, murder, and I'll keep saying it, just for them to come here and do that, and just to get away with it and get handed free money. And don't forget about them goddamn scumbag drug users. If you've been revived 5, 6, 7 times from a bad habit of a drug, and you're getting your friggin' Narcan shot ups 7, 8 times, you know what? And my kids' educations are being pushed to the side due to lack of funds to hire more teachers. And think about it. I hope you all sit there and think about it next time you think about what you want to come over here and protest against. Because right here, this is the truth. This is black and white. And this is what happens when you get brainwashed by the government. Out.